Well, I have a question for you, which has to do with the emotional aspect or qualities of consciousness. Because, you know, I think the words that both of you use have to do with consciousness, awareness, knowing, realization. They all have somewhat of a noetic or a knowing kind of aspect or flavor to them. And I wonder what the emotional colors of that knowing or realization or resting in that state, how that is expressed on the emotional level. And you seem to be bursting.
Well, you know, if you want to ask about love and all that stuff, you have to ask the ladies.
Okay.
How about that for passing the buck?
Well, I think we should turn the tables on Amir, because he knows what we're talking about as well as we do. So
no. No way. I'm the moderator here.
This is a free-for-all, in case you didn't realize. So if you don't have to, you can if you want to.
Well, I can tell you this. I feel that this aspect has been very missing from my spiritual search for many years, because, you know, I'm an Israeli macho man, and that's not part of our upbringing. And in the last couple of years, and I think a lot because of speaking with people like yourselves, I'm appreciating, more than appreciating, I am sensing more and more the quality of love that I always felt was like a mushy new age kind of a decoration. And now it's becoming, in my experience, the most significant and attractive. And that's my leading edge these days, is sensing that the love aspect of self-realization or knowing reality, for me at this point anyway, is the most attractive and calling forward kind of motivation.
So you're saying this emptiness you keep talking about isn't empty at all. It's full of these feelings of connectedness and knowledge and love. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and
hard to get him to admit things.
And I would add passion and excitement,
yes,
and creativity. And these all seem to be connected, in my experience, to love. So it's much more than a feeling. It's a creative, very full of life movement. Yeah.
It was beautiful. Thank you for responding. That was really beautiful to hear you talk about your experience. Thank you for responding. I know I put you on the spot, but it was really, really beautiful.
Thank you. I've never spoken about it in such a way, so I'm interesting for me to hear myself.
Yeah, well, you know, you're an Israeli macho fellow. Well, I'm a Finnish macho fellow, you know, from Finland. That's much worse.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, you know.
Thing is about love, though, it escapes from our history and conditioning and so on. It doesn't recognize those boundaries. And I think when Amir was speaking and Harri and I were listening, I felt that we were just in love. I thought I was like, oh my God, I'm having a love attack here, listening to speaking. So I can appreciate the kind of crustiness of the Israeli macho man and the Finnish macho man, but I'm sorry, but the love escaped from.
It does. You can't ignore it.
Can't ignore it. So
Can't ignore it.
But
In
interestingly,
fact, go ahead.
I also feel like Amir that love is a leading edge for me as well. I feel like I know very little about love actually, and I'm just discovering how many ways one can love, and what love is as it resides in me without an object, and what it is to live. Again, this sounds, to live as love, if you like, to have that as the quality, as the, and I think what Amir is talking about is having love as the one of the dominant qualities of expression of the self. And love is very humbling because you can't actually do anything with it. There's nothing you can do to manipulate or gain anything from it. It's actually the eradication, if you like, of any kind of gain, except in itself, it's the ultimate reward. I mean that in inverted commas.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Mhm.
There's a chapter in another book I'm writing finally that says, there's something like, one of the chapter headings says, you don't find love, love finds you.
Yes.
And that's what you're saying. You can't manipulate it. You can't conjure it up suddenly. You can't make it up. You can't do anything with it. It does with you rather than you do with it, if you know what I mean. And it brings to mind, self-realization could just as well be called love realization.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Bingo, Harry.
That's it, folks.
That's it. That's it.
Show over. Hello and goodbye.
That was.
Self-awareness, as Amir is realizing, has a quality to it. And there is that, there's a one way of looking on it, when self-awareness is empty, then it's not empty. It's pre-bliss, pre-love, pre-knowledge. It's potentially all of those things when your attention is clear enough, right?
Yeah.
And then, but the first and easiest thing to recognize about self-awareness is there's a quality of contentment or connectedness or unity or love or universality. Those kind of qualities, they're very subtle, they're very quiet, they're intrinsic, deeply pervasive qualities of self-awareness.
Yes.
That's why we want it.
Yes.
All this fancy stuff I talk about, those are just extras. What we want is those qualities, right? We want those qualities of unity, unified feeling, no separation. I am that stillness that is everywhere. And then when you begin to see those emotional values, those loving values, those unified values, you start seeing them in your daily life. Life gets very rewarding. It's not just inside, but in your heart. But your senses deliver that same phenomenon to you. Your sense of sight, your sense of hearing. That when there's a connect, this is a state beyond the emptiness. This would be a unified state of awareness. The emptiness state, as it gets into these feeling levels, starts going into that feeling level that extends into the environment, is porous. The inside, the outside is porous to each other. You're not separate from that. Anything fundamentally. And there's this thing about love has all these qualities, all these values, but the ultimate value it's a unified feeling of total contentment. Ah, I am that. I am in love with everything. And that's a cosmic feeling. Now, cosmic love has an individual aspect to it, the way that I look at it. If you look at something you truly love individually, but you have this cosmic love or this feeling that the universe is all that I am, and it is all that I am, and I am all that it is. When you have that feeling, and then you have a more localized experience, it isn't localized at all. That individual love becomes cosmic love, and the cosmic love becomes individual love, and there you go. Right?
I love that. I love that, because that matches my experience, like, you know, of going to the park or in nature in any kind of way, that it's not local. The experience of well, joy, bliss, wonder, connectedness is not local. It exactly as you described it, that it's anyway, I thought you put that fantastically. That completely hit the nail for me, Harri. Thank you.
Well, my experience is slightly different, and I'd like to introduce.
Yeah, but you're Israeli. You're going to be different, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, take it as a compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which is that I do have the experience of all-pervasive love as the essence of everything. But there's something that happens to that in interaction with other people. And it doesn't happen to me in nature or with my dog or with any other non-human object. It happens for me in interactions with other people that seems to amplify it and make it overwhelming, which it isn't otherwise, in my experience. So I wonder what's your thoughts or feelings or impressions of that?
Just wait. It's not going to remain like that.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And why don't you say something on that?
Well, because it's a kind of alchemy that if that heart longing is with you and that same heart longing or expression is with the other, then there's an alchemical fire that comes between you, which is much stronger than being one with a tree, if you like, or in love with your dog. So it's really that you're dealing with two cauldrons of energy, and so that's greater than. But I agree with Harri. Sorry to be agreeing with you all the time, Harri.
Yeah, it's terrible. You know, I'm agreeing with you too. You know, this is a mutual admiration society, okay?
But I agree with Harri to say that it won't, that will expand outwards and include, so that your relationship to your dog or to your garden or so on will not necessarily be much different or any different than when you're in a kind of electrifying moment with another person. It's just that's your tuning at the moment, but it won't remain your tuning. It's
beautifully put.
Hmm.
Just take it just a little, maybe little bit different angle on that. You know, the cosmic experience or the unbounded experience, when it becomes full and it goes to the, you know, as far as it goes, whatever it is, when it focuses, and I'm agreeing with that, and totally that your immediate environment, you could be looking at that door, but you're feeling that inner experience of silence, stillness, love, whatever it is. So it'll include the door.
Mm-hmm.
However, if your wife walks through the door, suddenly there is a little bit of a change. There is, you know, because suddenly you have the same experience with your wife that you had with the door but more.
Mhm.
It's the same experience. It's
Yes.
not any different.
Yes.
And I think you were trying to say that, and it's almost the same experience, but now there's a more what?
Enhanced or
Enhanced experience, a fuller experience. Same experience from a different perspective.
yes, that's good. I'm glad you clarified. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
you said that too. I know you did.
Harry, doesn't it have to do with the fact that there is something static in the response you get from the door, and there is something very non-static and creative in the interaction with another person?
If you were to experience the structural, lively, intelligent level of the self, where the laws of nature are operative and the personifications of the laws of nature are operative, then you wouldn't quite say it that way.
Even the door would bring you to your knees. Even the door.
Even the door will kind of, whoa, come on, door. Get out of my line of sight. I want to look at that post instead.